we've got Cuffs the Legend, friend of the show, and the host of the Some Dude Show podcast. He will be coming on to discuss his opinion that the 2012 Team USA, I don't know that, I mean, every team's not the dream team, all right? But 2012, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Westbrook, Tyson Chandler, Darren Williams, Andre Iguodala, Kobe, so on and so forth, James Harden, or Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Davis, they won gold. And he thinks they were better than the original dream team. Skip Bayless, Keyshawn Johnson, Paul Pierce, they were discussing this year's squad, 2024, versus the dream team of 92, which one was better. They did that on Undisputed. We at First Things First, myself and my co-host Nick Wright and Kevin Wiles, we did a draft of players from those two teams and who would you take. And so it seems, and there are other people out there that have compared them, but it seems fashionable all of a sudden to compare this team in 2024 to the original Dream Team, which has generally been viewed as the best team ever assembled. How would you compare these two teams? And I've said, and I've talked with Rob G, I'm fine doing it today. It's a great conversation, but let them win gold first. Win gold first, which I think they will. But how do you compare this team to 92?
It's so tough, Chris, because we never really saw the best of the 92 team. I mean, they were so much better than the rest of the world at that time in the game of basketball.
Right.
You know, everything was a blowout. I mean, so they were so dominant.
They won by about 40. Rob G, see what their average victory. It was 41 or something like that.
I mean, and it's not like they had bad players. That Croatia team had what? Drazen Petrovic and Kukoc and a couple other NBA guys. So they played like a team or two. You know, that
44 points was the average margin of
right. Like, I mean, no one's been that dominant off the top of my head since then.
Well, we were for the next few years. Like 96, they routed them. I mean, 2000 was the first time it was close. Lithuania gave us a battle. And because we were trading 2-pointers for threes. They were hitting a bunch of threes, and we were playing big inside out. And then, of course, for a few years, we started losing in the FIBA competitions. And then in 04, we actually lost. The NBA or Team USA lost. And then that's when the Redeem Team came back in 08, and we've won ever since.
I just mean, it's hard for me to ever say that anybody would have beaten the Dream Team. Competitive, yeah, but I mean, they didn't have any weakness. They had the two best distributors of the basketball we've ever seen, Magic Johnson, John Stockton running the point. I mean, they had elite shooting, Chris Mullin, Larry Bird. I mean, they had athleticism and all-time greats on the wing, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler. I mean, they had the best under 6'6" four we've ever seen, Charles Barkley. Karl Malone, maybe the best offensive back-to-the-basket game of any power forward in history. Him dunking, probably in that conversation. And then you got David Robinson and Patrick Ewing down there anchoring. I mean, they're big, they're athletic, they got high basketball IQ, they play great defense. Like, people don't understand what it was like just trying to get the ball across half court when Jordan and Pippen really were like, okay, we really gonna D up.
That was a big part of their dynasty. Yeah, it was their wing defense.
The one thing that the modern NBA team or the modern Olympic teams don't really have that I think would be an issue, they don't have the same level of rim protection.
No.
That Dream Team had.
Although this team with Embiid and Anthony Davis,
Embiid's not he's not rim protection. I mean, I would say big, Bam and AD.
Okay. He's Bam's a better defender, but Embiid's a good defender.
Could you imagine Bam trying to guard Barkley?
Yeah, I think Barkley too strong for him, but Bam obviously would have a height advantage. Here's the thing, though. We talk about, I agree, like the way you laid it out for that Dream Team was like, oh my gosh. But here's what we have to remember. Larry Bird was a shell of himself.
His back was hurting.
He was 35 years old. back was jacked up. He wasn't practicing. And so he didn't even play that much in the game. So we're not talking about vintage Larry Bird.
But when he did play, he was excellent.
Yeah, but I mean, he just went out there and shot open jumpers. You know, I mean, the competition was so thin. But Magic Johnson. Magic was, remember, he had retired a year earlier because of HIV. And so he was a year removed from competitive NBA basketball.
Fresh.
So he wasn't at his best.
Sort of how LeBron and AD won that title in the bubble. They got the refresh.
Yeah, but it wasn't a whole season. Like I would argue that Magic was not at his best, even though you couldn't tell in those games because it was so easy. But I mean, a year removed, he probably wasn't at his best. I think that's a safe assumption. So though I think that's the thing that you're not talking about all these guys in their prime. So that's one of the things. But what I do give them as an advantage too, and you mentioned some good ones. Back then, NBA players played 5-man basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all high pick and roll, spread the floor, and things like that. It was 5-man. We're moving. I'm moving without the ball. We're setting screens and things like that. And that's a more effective way to play basketball. That's why Golden State had their dynasty. They weren't, I mean, without Durant, they weren't like the wildest, more wildly talented, you know, but they moved around and that was unique. San Antonio, when they ran through the Heat in 2014, Duncan was past his prime, but they moved the ball and they moved their players around and stuff like that. And so today's NBA players aren't as effective at doing that. And so I think you cannot write off the Dream Team, even with the deficiencies I mentioned, because Bird and Magic were
playing with 10
at the end of their career.
They were playing with 10 because Leitner and Bird really don't count. But
Yeah.
Magic played really good in those Olympics.
Yeah, but again, who didn't?
But I'll tell you this.
Everybody played well. I'm
the
just
issue-
saying, I don't think he was at his best. But Magic Johnson also, Sean, is the best player ever at developing chemistry and incorporating teammates.
Yeah, and
That is huge.
He's a matchup nightmare for this current team. Who's
Well, they
going
would
to guard
put
him?
LeBron on him. They put LeBron on him.
Well, then who's going to guard MJ?
I mean, whether it's Tatum or
Oh, no,
I mean,
come on,
you
man.
could try to put Tatum
Come
on
on.
him.
If you think Kurt will let Tatum in the game now, if MJ was out there,
No, I mean, but that's really who it might come down
like
to.
to me,
I
this
think
year's
LeBron
team's
would be
biggest
guarding
issue is their lack of size. I don't
This
think
Dream Team?
Yeah, don't know this one compared to
year's
this team.
Well, you got Embiid. Embiid would bang with Ewing and Robinson. And he
Embiid
obviously
can't run
can
the floor
shoot
with David
short
Robinson.
the jumper
David
over him.
Robinson run Embiid right back to the bench. The way those boys got up and down the court and with Magic and Stockton distributing that ball. Remember Malone? And
No,
they played the game
that's true.
harder, more fun.
And
Like,
that's
that
why
would
I
be an
think
issue for guys
it's-
like Embiid.
It's hard to write off the Dream Team because of how smart they played. And I just think players they're better. They were better at team basketball back then than they are now. And I think
Jokic
that
couldn't
would
make
be
either team.
a problem. Huh?
Jokic couldn't make either team.
First of all, it's Jokic.
Jokic.
He could make the team. He's better than Patrick Ewing and David Robinson.
He doesn't fit.
Oh, he would have fit. He'd have been in Bird's spot.
Patrick
All
Ewing
right,
was a great
we
fit
got
for
Cuffs
that.
the legend around the corner. We'll get into this more with him. Our man Cuffs the legend. What's up, bruh?
Fellas, man, I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy to be back, man. Always a good time with y'all, man. Sean King, my guy. What's up, brother?
Man, blessings, man, to finally be able to get on the platform and talk a little ball with you, man. We've been following each other on the platform formerly known as Twitter, I guess I can call it. I'm still not comfortable saying
Yeah.
X for quite a time.
Well, Cuffs, you tweeted at me was it yesterday or a couple days ago?
Yeah.
My guess is you just wanted to get on the show. Because the substance
You know,
of the tweet,
I love
substance
coming
of the
on,
tweet
man.
is a little crazy. I mean, so
Look,
I ain't mad at you because we needed to get you on anyway. But let me read it. Let me read it so the audience can laugh at you. Don't take it personal.
Uh-oh.
The 2012 Team USA would beat 1992 Dream Team at Chris Broussard. So, Cuffs, just let me quickly go over the roster for 2012.
Please do.
Tyson Chandler and Anthony Davis are the bigs, and Kevin Love, I guess. Well,
Yep.
no, just stop at Chandler and Davis. They got to match up with Ewing and David Robinson. I'll take Ewing and David Robinson. Power forwards, you got Kevin Love.
Prime Kevin Love.
Man, prime Kevin Love is getting demolished by prime Charles Barkley.
Or Karl Malone.
Or Karl Malone. Absolutely. And then I'm not
Okay,
going to
let's
go
get
over
to
everybody.
it.
But let me
Now
read. I'll give
let's
you the
get
rest
to
of the
let's
name.
get to the Mickey-
Kevin Durant, that's fine. LeBron, great in his prime. Russell Westbrook, not really the setting for him. You got to admit that, but he's on there. Darren Williams was great at that time. Andre Iguodala, Kobe, James Harden, Chris Paul, and Carmelo Anthony. That's a squad, but why are they beating the 92 Dream Team?
I think the 2012 squad, first of all, it's a lot of variables. It's all hypothetical. I like to have fun with this stuff. I'm saying in a 7-game series scenario, 7 games, not a 1-game scenario, 7-game series anywhere in the world, right? Neutral court. Whenever you have LeBron James, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, right, and Kevin Durant, I'm going to stop at those two guys. That right there alone would be the best duo we've ever seen on the court. Versatility-wise, the length, the IQ. I feel like KD would equalize or neutralize Michael Jordan. Right?
Here's the
So you
problem
got
with KD. Like, because I think you could argue Magic and Kareem. Now, Kareem was at the tail end of his prime when Magic was earlier in his career. But Kevin Durant, I think you'll admit this, and Durant's great. They're all great, so I'm not arguing against his greatness. Physical defense bothers him. Like, we saw it against Boston.
Does it really, or is that a narrative?
Yeah.
Does it really?
No, I'm going to tell you why. Boston and Kyrie was on the floor with him. So it ain't like you didn't have any other players that the defense had to worry about. They got physical when he was in Brooklyn with him in that sweep in the playoffs. Kevin Durant was struggling to get the ball up court. He was turning the ball over uncharacteristically. He shot in the 30%, something 30%, under 40%. Jason Tatum outplayed him. And all they did was get physical, kind of like 90s basketball. So this notion, Durant would have been a superstar back then, don't get me wrong. But this notion that, oh my gosh, they wouldn't have known what to do with Durant. Nah, they would have got physical with Durant because you were allowed to back then. And he still would have been great, but
Chris,
he wouldn't have been any better than he is right now.
Let's put the puzzle together. Like the Avengers. Who is your 5 you're putting out there against not only the 2012 team, but even the team now, Sean? Like the 2024, this team we're watching right now, I agree with y'all. They have to get it done. They can't choke. They got to go out here and get the gold medal first and foremost.
See, Cuff, not to cut you off.
Look at the pros they're playing against. They're not playing against Angola in '92, who were happy to be there signing autographs. They
playing against South Sudan that just started playing basketball. This is their first Olympic basketball team.
There's pros out there. There's pros.
None of it. A couple dudes that had a cup of coffee in the NBA.
So, Cuff, let me ask you this.
Rest of them are D1 players.
Basketball is about matchups. Who's your starting 5 on that 12 team? If you're playing the Dream Team, who's your starting 5?
I'm playing LeBron James at point guard, and then I'm putting Kobe at the 2, KD at the 3. We going Carmelo Anthony. I don't know why all of a sudden everybody acting like Carmelo is not a top 10 all-time leading scorer, one of the top 3 pure scorers ever, one of the greatest Olympic players ever.
Top 3 pure scorers ever? Yeah. I mean, look, Melo's great. I don't want to disparage Melo, but you tripping.
Currently, ask the current players, Chris.
Carmelo Anthony is not one of the top 3 purest scorers ever. I mean, stop that.
Top 5?
No.
Oh my God.
Melo is great. Again, I don't want to disparage Melo, but you're going too far. I mean, come on.
We're talking international FIBA basketball rules. We saw what Melo did.
So you're not talking about. I'm talking about NBA. of NBA players, I'm talking about NBA career.
Yeah. But we
So you're saying he's one of the top 5 pure scorers ever?
Yes, Melo finished like
He
top
didn't even
8 all
shoot
time.
45% for his career.
He was high value, Chris. You know that. He was a high value guy like Kobe
that's
was.
a problem.
Kobe
That's a
was
problem
too.
if you're high volume and you ain't efficient. That's a
Kobe
negative.
was too. So here's my 5. Kobe, Bron, Durant, and Melo. And I'm going to go with prime Blake Griffin at my 5.
So
We
watch
gonna
this.
fuck y'all.
So watch this. Here's where I feel like, and the rules matter too. Like what rules we playing? We playing 92.
FIBA.
Okay,
Now,
FIBA
I'm
rules.
looking at.
So
you
when
sure Blake was on that team?
I don't think
Yeah,
so. I think it was
Blake was on the
Tyson
squad.
Chandler. I think it was Tyson Chandler and somebody
Blake,
else.
Blake wasn't on that team. I mean,
Blake was on the team, man.
I'm
Blake
looking
was
at
on the
look up
team.
the roster. Rob
Hey,
G, look up the roster.
That
I
works
don't
in our
think
favor even more, Chris, because they're going to counter with the Admiral, Karl Malone, Pippen, Jordan, Magic. And
Bro,
y'all got
listen.
when Malone might score 120 points that game.
No. Malone is getting space off. Here's my point with
I'm
this.
putting Barkley in over Malone.
Barkley-
Well, either
Barkley-
way.
Barkley and Malone would get played off the floor with Durant and Braun and them, that spacing. I'm telling you. They will
And-
put those guys in high
Cuffs.
pick and rolls and destroy them.
Blake
They can't
was-
move the Robbie.
Blake was replaced by Anthony Davis because of injury. Here's this to me, Cuffs. This should have been your argument. Bird was a shell of himself.
Yeah, he was washed.
He never
Bird was
played
washed.
again right after that. And he wasn't practicing, didn't play much.
And
And Magic was
washed
a
too in
year
92.
removed from the
He wasn't
NBA.
washed. He wasn't in his
Magic
prime.
was a year removed from the NBA.
Muller
But
was
here's the
washed.
problem, and
Muller was
you
washed.
might disagree with this, Cuff. Players back then played team basketball better than they do today. Now most players grow up playing in the NBA. Most 1 or 2 man basketball. ISO, they're great with the ball in their hands, not so great without it in their hands, or high pick and roll, spread the floor. That's 1 or 2 man ball. Back then, they played 5-man basketball, including Jordan. Like, all of them played 5-man basketball. That's a more effective way of playing
look.
than 1
Hey,
or
look,
2
man.
man.
Hey, listen, Chris. I agree with you. I'm like my pop says it all the time. They shoot too many threes now. That's the one thing I will agree with y'all with. But let's be real here. Jordan was playing in the triangle offense, but outside of that, they were playing bodybuilder basketball. Those Knicks, they was clogging up the paint. You seen those Pacer teams with the Davis brothers? Man,
Oh, they
the
were more
Davis guys.
physical for sure. They
Yeah,
were
they
more
were physical, but those Knicks games, those Bulls Knicks series, go look at the film. It was clogged up paint.
No, the
three-second
paint,
rule was
yeah,
different.
I agree. But I'm saying the offenses weren't built around one player. No, there was very little high pick and roll at that point. Isaiah Thomas said he ran very little high pick and roll. It was more 5-man offenses. And the reason Golden State, even without Kevin Durant, could win 2 championships was because they played 5-man basketball. And now a lot of players are like, man, my gosh, what is
Yeah,
this?
the game evolved, though. But you
right?
gotta say- I look
but
at it
it's
this way,
better.
Chris.
I mean, I like the 3 because obviously 3 is worth more than 2. But I'm just saying one of the reasons these under-talented international teams are able to play with us is because
they're
they
not
get
pros,
everybody
Chris.
involved.
They have a lot of pros. They're
Yeah,
full of
but
pros
they're
now.
they're pros that aren't stars in the NBA for the most part. They go over there, they got a bunch of role players and maybe 1 star, and they pushing us because they play more,
here's
they
the
get
point,
more
here's the
backdoor
point.
cuts,
Chris,
they
let
do
me
more
say this.
screening. It's more 5-man basketball.
Let me say this, though. A lot of times you see guys in the international stage, they play with more confidence, right? You like, dang, look at Evan Fournier, or look at Dennis Schroeder, or look at Franz Wagner, right? You see these guys. But the fans also have to understand in their NBA role, they're a role player on that team. They can these guys, if you unlock them and give them the green light and give them more shots, you will see guys be able
Well,
to get 20 against
Wagner's
anybody.
been unlocked. Wagner's unlocked, and
And he's not.
And
You seen
I
him
mean,
cook.
you Dylan like what's it? Fournier had his opportunities to be unlocked. He just didn't do much with it.
But Dennis Schroeder looks great in international ball. because
Schroeder's
he's
had
really,
opportunity. I thought Schroeder was going to develop into a star,
He
but
would've
he
been.
hasn't been able to. Like he had opportunities.
If Bron would have got out the way, Schroeder would have been a star with the
Oh,
Lakers.
no. Oh, come on, Sean. Don't do it, Sean. Sean, I knew it. I knew it now, man. I knew it was something.
I'm just joking.
Hey, Cuffs,
I'll
we
say
gonna
this,
ask
Cuff.
you this because we've been debating this. Who is
Uh-oh.
the best player in the world right now?
Right now,
not,
today?
Not LeBron at 32 now.
Right
Yeah.
now, I mean, we're
Right.
watching these Olympics right now. And when I'm watching these international games, Jokic is over there, right? He's supposed to be the best player in the world. I'm going to be real with you. LeBron has looked like the best player in the world, and his teammates agree.
But here's the problem.
Thank you, Cuff.
LeBron
Thank you,
can
Cuff.
be- but-
Thank
but
you,
hold on,
Cuff.
hold
You
on,
just
Cuff.
validated a whole hour and a half of radio back and forth
first of all,
between
Cuffs
me and
ain't
Chris.
ain't the authority on this. I'm just humoring him. Cuff. No, I'm just saying. But hold on,
I'm
Cuffs.
just some dude,
Cuffs,
man.
you know, and I'm not just talking about in a 6-game Olympic tournament. LeBron has looked like the best player in Team USA and the world. That's fine right now. But he can do that over 6 games where you're playing 25 minutes a night. You got great help, so your team doesn't lose the lead when you go to the bench. And like it's different. You're getting rest, no back-to-backs. He ain't the best player in the NBA season anymore, and that's no slight on LeBron. You know I love LeBron, but he got Anthony Davis, and they're not a huge, top-tier contender right now.
Duo in the
So
world
we
right
can't
now,
say he's the huh?
They're the best duo in the world. They're showing you everybody that right now.
Man,
is the
stop. Come on, stop.
They're
I mean,
still the
look.
best duo in the world.
I know
Rob
you're
gotta
gonna say
wake up.
LeBron is the best at every single thing.
Nah,
But
Rob
come
gotta
on,
wake up. Like,
he
he
ain't the best player in the world right now.
Okay. I
This
see what you're saying.
tournament is not the measure of the best player in the
In
world.
Spurs, he's not. But I would say Jokic is the overall best player in the world. Jokic is.
Sean, anything to say?
Yeah, I
Sean
told
just, you just
So, Cuff,
validated.
Cuff, the
Thank you, Cuff.
discussion.
Thank you,
the
Cuff.
discussion was this. I don't think there is a consensus number 1 player in the world right now. I think it's up for grabs.
Because some nights it's Giannis. Some nights it's Giannis. Even though I think his game is ugly aesthetically, like some nights it's
Right, he don't
some
have
nights
the
it's Luka.
skill.
It's Luka.
Can he
some
be
nights.
the best? Because he doesn't have he obviously not a consistent jump shooter. And that would be fine if you went in the post and was beasting mugs as a 7-footer. But he doesn't do that either. So, he doesn't have a go-to shot. So, Cubs, great stuff.
I'm gonna tell you who's not that guy real quick.
De'Aaron Fox.
I call him the Cameroon crybaby, the double agent Joel Embiid.
Oh,
He's
yeah, I'm not a
trying to
Joel
steal
Embiid
gold
fan
medal.
either.
We
I'm
ain't
not an
mad
Embiid
at
guy
you.
either, dog.
We ain't mad at because Embiid, I think Embiid's kind of being exposed in these Olympics.
My dark horse is Shea
listen.
Gilgeous-Alexander.
I agree with you on that.
He got to get in shape. That's my thing with him. His game is nice. He's skilled. You got to get in shape, big dog.
You talking about Embiid?
Yeah, he got to get in shape.
He's always hurt.
We've been waiting on that since
he's-
Kansas.
He got a lazy game. You know what I'm saying?
Lazy game. Yep.
Lazy game. Yeah, and he looks in the way right now. Like, they don't even need him. I mean, he looks like he's in the way. So,
Yep.
Cuffs
Bam,
the
though.
legend.
Bam looks great.
Bam is
looks
balling.
great.
Bam is balling. Great stuff, man. Check him out on the Some Dude Show podcast. Cuffs the legend. Great stuff as always, brother. We will talk soon.
Man, anytime, y'all.
Bam
All right, bro.
might be the
Peace.
best 3-point shooter on the team.